embargo today will be for 10:30 on Saturday evening. So we've got the mics at the end of that. We'll pass these to the Sunday guys. Any questions in Spanish we'll take just before that embargo. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Pep. Hi. It's another big test this weekend with Arsenal. Have you been surprised by how quickly and how ably your squad and team are able to win these big games, no matter what the circumstances are?
Of course, he's one of the best opponents, the main team. They are in a good, except his defeat against Watford. They won a lot of games recently, so it's Arsenal. It's always complicated. It's the last game before international break, the last one, and hopefully we can recover good in our tough game in Napoli for the travel, for everything, and of course good performance in front of our fans and win the game.
As a team, though, and as players, you're making history, you're breaking records. Does that matter, or is it titles that matter?
Matter is play good tomorrow. That is what it matters, and win the game. The record is always a consequence to win games, make a good achievements, but the main thing is win the next one. We did it the last one, and we have to try tomorrow. So the other one is, believe me, it's good for statistics or for these kind of things, but it's try to good performance for our fans. Tomorrow our fans come to the stadium to see us again, to enjoy 90 minutes, and try to get a good performance. And of course we need our fan support, because it was after Champions League is so tough. Yesterday play Arsenal without the real squad is going to play next Sunday, so they rest 1 week, and the energy, the little lack energy we will have, because that is normal after Champions League. Our supporter can help us in that.
Hello again, Pep. Obviously, congratulations for Sergio Aguero getting that record finally during the week. Was there a certain amount of relief now that has been done and he can sort of move forward and move up?
No, it's not a relief. I told you many times sooner or later that it's going to break. It was 2 goals left, so his contract until 2020. So that's what happened. So now it's focus. He was focused in win the game. He was focused in do what we have to do for him, for his teammates, for the club, and that is a good news for him. So it's a big achievement. He has to be so proud. He has to be so proud what he has done, his family, and that's all. So now tomorrow another one.
And in terms of Jesus coming in and maybe sort of giving him a little bit of an extra lift as well, what is the process that you have to think about whether they can start together? The last time we saw them start was against Watford, wasn't it, when you won by 6-0? But how does it work for you? What situations can they start together in matches?
But they can play together when we need players who play more wider to have a space in the middle. Sometimes it's better to play with Rogers and it depends on the quality of the opponent. It depends on the way we want to play. It depends on the way we want to attack. For many circumstances, it depends. For give chance for another players. Played an important game, a huge important game in Napoli with Danilo, for example, and Gundogan, when recently didn't play too much minutes. So since when we come back from the international break, everybody's going to play. You cannot achieve one long season from August until May with the same 11 players. They are going to play. Some of them are going to play. Some of them they are not going to play. Just be ready for the next one.
Pep, it's the first time you've played Arsenal since you tried to sign Alexis Sanchez in the summer. Is that something that you may try and do again? And also, what was the thought process behind trying to bring him here? Because obviously the team's doing so well without him.
He's an Arsenal player. Yeah, his manager had to speak about him. Always never spoke even. You know the situation, but before when was it the transfer window was open, now it's closed. It's don't talk about that. So it's an Arsenal player, and we have to see analyze what he. It's so important player for them, so important for huge talent that he has, and you have to try to control him. So it's just focus on that.
Okay, there was a suggestion earlier this week that you have decided in your own mind that you need more time to achieve what you need to do here, and have already decided that you would like to stay for an extra season. Is that correct?
Extra season I will be there because we have 1 more year contract. This one and the other one. We will have time about that. So I was happy last season. So you can imagine how happy I am now. So I'm comfortable here since the beginning, from the beginning. So it's not a big issue in that. So the managers and the players has to be focused in the next game, and after that it's not important, especially now in November.
Pep, can you give us an update on Vincent Kompany? He's not in the Belgium squad this time. He has been called up when he's been injured before, not now, but how close is he to returning?
Well, of course he cannot be with the national team. So he's 2 months injured for a muscular issue. So, and not, it was not in the beginning. It was not a big term. So he will stay here to recover and hopefully enter international break and start with training with us.
And just on another centre-back, John Stones has been fantastic, obviously, with Vincent gone. What are the reasons behind that, do you feel? Has the keeper had something to do with that as well as just his own form?
No, John and Nico made an outstanding these last 2 months. They play almost all the games and they play in a high level, all of them. He was so focused. It's not easy to play the way we play, and they did it really well. So both of them, one of the reasons why for our success in the last period was Nico and John. What amazing what he has done, what they have done.
Just on Sanchez, do you still feel you need a player of his calibre and profile? Because with the team playing so well, particularly going forward, isn't there a danger if you bring in someone, say in January, that could disrupt?
The transfer window is closed, so it's not time to talk about. It's not time to talk about that. It's for respect for the Arsenal players.
But are you happy with the forward you've got?
And especially for my players. It's not time to. You know, for the past maybe last season you realize, and this season too, in the period that the transfer is open, I leave the people talk about that. It's not time to talk about. You know my opinion about the players. I have the players for my opponent. Respect what they have. The opinion of Alexis, you know, but I have spoken many times about that. But it's Arsenal players, so it's not correct to talk about that especially before one game against them.
Hi Pep. Antonio Conte said today that there is a problem for any team that wants to win the Premier League, and it's Manchester City. How much of a compliment is that to your side, that after 10 games, you know, the manager of the champions is basically saying City are the team to beat?
So we are 5 points in front, ahead from United. So how many games left?
28.
How many points?
84.
Huh? 84? Mathematics, I'm a disaster.
84.
84. So 84 points to play, 5 points in front. So it's nothing. So
okay, but they are.
So when you ask me if you play until next May, we're going to play in the way we played in the last 2 months, I'm going to tell you, wow, we have a good chance to win the Premier League. But who assure me that is going to happen? Who assure me is not going to be injured players? Who's going to assure me we are not good at bad moments? Even the best teams in the world, in the whole history, it's impossible to maintain what we have done the last 2 months. So what I'm worried is tomorrow, what do you have to do to win the game? In the moments we are not going to be in that moment, because that is going to happen. Injuries, many circumstances, the opponent is going to make the tricky to create more problems. How are we going to solve that? We're going to see. I think in March and April is the best month to start to talk about that. But with 84 points to play, so it's nothing.
Pep, you said obviously last season one of the areas you wanted to improve on was taking your chances in front of goal. One of those players who is really doing that this season is Raheem. What specifically have you done with him in terms of his finishing? Because a lot of it looks like it's been a striker, and also not just his finishing, his final pass, his final ball, the precision and the awareness seems to be so much higher. What have you done with it? Because it can't just be solely hard work.
Well, it looks like recently that's true that in front of the goal is more accuracy than, for example, the last pass. Okay, has to improve. I think there is one point is that I think he's enjoying to to score goals. He's not scary. He's not afraid to take a risk to score goals. Now he realizes, wow, how funny it is to score goals, and how good it is. Now he's more focused on that. And Mikel Arteta is working many days after training session for the last action, for the control in the last moment, to make a movement in 3-4 meters. And for himself, he want to stay there and shoot, improve the goalkeepers. It's part of them, the mentally. So he knows the striker has to score the goals. If you want to achieve a next step, like a football player, you cannot be in front like a striker winger and don't score the goals. You will not survive in the high level teams if you don't score the goals. And of course now, because the competence is there and the clubs have to renew and the new players coming, and they score goals for the managers, it's so important to have a guys. So now the reason why is we have, I think, all the strikers are wingers, 7 goals is goal. It's not just Gabriel, it's not just Sergio. So, and that is so important for us to score goals for that. I think mainly it's because he decided I want to score goals and I can do that and I am enjoying to do that, and that is good.
And he's finding passes as well. The number of times he gets to the byline or
Yeah, he has to improve in that. He has to improve.
He's still getting better though.
He has to do it better. Yeah, he's better, but he can do better. So having more patience to analyze what is the gap, the small gap, because there it's more difficult. I understand them. So in the position in the middle, you have more space. There are not space. There are a lot of people there. The goalkeeper, the central defenders, the fullbacks, the holding midfielder join the central defenders to defend. It's not possible. But the big players decide well in that moment. But we cannot forget, he has 21 years old. And sometimes we demand a lot with this kind of players. If he's curious and he will improve, he will get it. Sure, definitely, because he's young and he has time, and we are there to help him.
Okay. About the mentality of the team. You took the team to Monaco last season, pretty much told them to do broadly the same things as against Napoli the other night. You said afterwards they didn't really have the belief for the mentality to do it. So the other night, against a team like that, fans like that, went a goal down, got it back to 2-2, and they still did it, still dominated the last 42 minutes. That takes balls. Really
yeah, that is important. What we have to learn for that is to avoid that the 20 minutes, the big gap when we are good and we are bad, is still big. So when you are in a knockout game, maybe you don't have time to recover, because the opponents, of course, for Napoli was so important in that game. But also, in other side, I said after the press conference, we cannot expect against Napoli, for example, 90 minutes you control. It's almost impossible. We're going to play the finals with the best 16 players. That is going to happen in 180 minutes. That is going to happen. But of course, it's so important. I remember what are they feeling. I didn't watch the game against Napoli, but after 2-2, when they are so important in the game, the first action with, I think, Danilo and Kevin and Reich was so aggressive, and we regained the ball quick. And in that terms, maybe you can believe, okay, now we control with 2-2, when 1 point is good for qualification, and we make a step to win the game. And of course, the qualification, Callejon can score the 2-3, and Millie will make the 3-2. That game means a lot, but in that knockout, sometimes it's that situation depends, you are in or you are out. And but Napoli conceded 3 goals in all the season at home, and we scored 4, so it's a lot. I think that we spoke about that. So in that games, it's important what you have to do, the tactics, but in that games it's about the mentality. It's the mentality about you believe we can do that. And it's important because we realize we can do that. And of course in 80 finals will be, I'm pretty sure, against the top teams in Europe. We're going to see how we arrive. Always I pray to arrive in February fit, with health. We get the squad. Because in that competitions, if you are not arrive in the right moment, it's so complicated to achieve the target.
But that'll help if you lose a game as well, won't it? If you lose a game, to have the mentality to come back the next game and be aggressive and go.
Yeah, that's true.
It should be good.
That when I spoke, so people say, "Oh, we are unbeatable." We are beatable. So the team, some of I don't know when, are going to beat us. How are going to react? Like we react after 1-0 down or 2-2. That is when you really became a good team, and that I want to watch. I want to see.
Okay, last couple before the embargo, please, guys.
Hi, Pep. Could you give me your thoughts on Mesut Ozil? He's a player who a lot of managers, a lot of top managers really appreciate, but he seems to get a lot of criticism. Are we just not seeing something that top managers are seeing? Because I think there were some stats this week that his are very similar to Kevin De Bruyne, and of course Kevin De Bruyne is.
I don't have doubts about him. First, in terms of quality, I enjoy him and I suffer him at the same time when he was in Madrid, even here. So I don't have any doubts about his quality. Always normally is criticized when the team lose, and after, of course, the big men, the big targets always is being criticized. So I admire him a lot. So it's maybe his body language doesn't help him too much, but sometimes the body language confuses the opinions of the critic or the opinion media, even though all players. For me, it's a little bit tough. I accept all of you, your opinions, but all players criticize now new players when they were nothing. Months ago, years ago, was there on the pitch, and they know exactly how tough it is working there, because these old players now, when they are a prestigious journalist or opinion, forget immediately they were there and they make performance like all players right now. So, but it's what it is, okay, and we have to accept that. Even though managers speak bad, all managers speak bad for the manager what they are. So I don't understand that. Believe me, I don't understand. But I don't have doubts about the quality of Zealand. So we think it's good for the Premier League how to play with these talents, and hopefully tomorrow can play a bad game.
Okay, Paul.
Pep, I appreciate you don't want to talk about what happened in the summer, but with regards to Alexis, but if you were to stay through to the rest of the season with the strikers, the attackers that you've got, would you be happy with that?
No, the strikers that we have are going to stay in the next season, hopefully.
No, but without adding to it.
Without
adding another player to
add another player. Maybe we're going to decide that, even in back, in the middle. So I think next season we have to shake a little bit the team as well, again. So not in terms like this season, but it was a lot, because last season our average was 28, 29 years old. We have 11 players more than 30 years old, and that season that doesn't happen. We are a young team. So, and that's why we are going to buy players, but we're going to try to analyze well and buy the right players, like we did, especially last season and this season.
Hi, Pat. Arsene Wenger shares your view that it's very early in the season to be talking about going unbeaten or being champions. You say it's impossible. Why could his team do it in 2004, but your team can't do it now?
But I would like to say to Arsene that this record belongs to him. We are not going to break him. He has to be calm. He has to be so sure that is not going to happen. So that belongs for his team, for an exceptional team, because win the Premier League unbeatable is something fantastic. He belongs to him. He has to know we don't want to break this record. We want to play tomorrow good and win and beat them tomorrow. That is what I want to do.
Luis.
Hola, buena tarde. Un jugador que se puede considerar un fichaje esta temporada es Gundogan. Ha vuelto a ser convocado por la selección alemana. ¿Qué me valorará ese hecho?
Pues estoy muy contento por él. Después de 8 meses lesionado, evidentemente el otro día fue una gran prueba contra el Wolves, donde jugó extra time, 120 minutos y aguantó bien, excepto los últimos 5 o 10 minutos. Fue una gran prueba. El otro día en un partido tan duro también volvió a jugar. Por calidad no hay duda. Estoy muy contento que haya vuelto con Alemania y que pueda jugar, porque es muy importante para nosotros que los jugadores se sientan muy importantes aquí con su selección.
I want to ask you about Ilkay Gundogan. He has been called by Germany for the next international games. What do you make of his performance this season? Well, I'm very happy for him that he's been called by Germany after 8 months injured. It's very important for him. The other day against Wolves, it was a big test for him, playing 120 minutes, and he kept the whole game. Also, the other day in Napoli, it was a really important match. We don't have any doubts about his skills, and obviously it's very important for him and also for us that our players play in their national teams.